This episode of Cobra Culture is brought to you by Advantage Title and Escrow.
On that later.
Good evening, everyone. Everyone in the graduating class of 2026, I want you to take a moment and look around.
Mr. Landry, when you came to Fountain Lake, was it 2 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a podcast studio already here?
No, there wasn't. When I first got to Fountain Lake, my goals and my aspirations for our school district is to try to find different pathways for every one of our students. And I saw this as a great way to start implementing some more pathways. And there were a lot of students that are interested in videoing, broadcasting, podcasting, and what a great way to start that process with this program. It's a pretty awesome program, and it's growing by leaps and bounds.
I did hear Mr. Green told me that Fountain Lake High School has its own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And they recently interviewed, the Arkansas Travelers?
So our students are very busy with putting new content out, and it's just an awesome place.
Sure. So where can we find this podcast?
Our website. We also have a YouTube channel, the Fountain Lake High School YouTube channel, mm-hmm. and you can find all their content there. When I first got here, when you come into a new school district, you have to look at, number one, your finances, number two, your buildings. When I started looking at all of that, our buildings were in pretty good shape. So that took a lot of stress off of me when I first walked in. So I really started looking into our finances, and I started seeing some ways I could kind of tweak the finances so we can give back to our programs at our school. Also saw in the high school there weren't a lot of pathways for our students, as far as if we wanted a student to go in the trades, if they wanted to go to university, if they wanted to go to the service, I didn't see a lot of different pathways that we could do that for our students. So one of my goals here is when I walked on campus is I want a pathway for every student that walks this hall. And we're going to make sure that's happening. Dr. Whitley, our high school principal, has a lot of knowledge on that because he's been working hard to implement these programs. He will love to have that conversation, and he can talk through the ins and outs of every program. But that's our goal here is we want a pathway for every student that walks the campus here, and that's what we're going to do.
Which camera do I look at?
Just pretend like they're not there.
I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Sorry, humor is my defense mechanism. So.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Hi, Phil. And I'm Aiden Carter's mom. He goes here to Fountain Lake High School. And you're the new principal. Will you introduce yourself to the camera?
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Garrett Whitley. I'm the high school principal. I've been here since August or July. So
since July, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So how are you? How is your first year here? How's it been so far?
It's been fantastic. That's one thing. When Mr. Landry brought me in to interview last year, one thing that he really preached was how much the community wraps you up and how much we have great kids. We have great facilities.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any big plans for the high school going forward?
So I think the big plans for us is just to provide as many opportunities as possible for our kids. A few months ago, the high school did our board report, and I think a phrase that's really stuck out to me this school year is, how can we say yes?
Okay.
I think that's important for us. So often we can look at things and say, tell a kid no. We can say, no, we don't have this opportunity for you. If a kid comes to us and says that I want to go down this pathway, or I want to do this job career, or I want to be here, everything that we can do, I want to be able to say yes to that kid and say, here's the option for you. Here's how we're going to get it done.
Sure.
That's how I've always been. And that's kind of my vision for the high school.
Okay. So we talked to Mr. Landry a little bit about the Pathways program. And when I had parent-teacher conference, one thing that I really like about Fountain Lake, sidebar as a parent, is especially at the high school level, is that Aiden has a student advisor that he has had. Ironically, she was his fourth grade teacher. And now he has this student advisor that's with him throughout high school that he sees, once or twice a day?
Yeah, just once in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that consistent person that he has to check in, to kind of build his future plan with, that he's familiar and comfortable with. Like, that's a huge deal as a parent.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about that pathway?
So digital media, obviously, as you know, is a very vast,
Yes.
Do you go photography? Do you go video creation? Do you go drone footage? Do you go PR? Do you go marketing? So many different facets of digital media that I think when the state rolled out with it, they were like, hey, we're just going to label it digital media and let kids be creative. So one thing that we've really done, our EAST program is here.
Right.
Is big here. And EAST stands for Integrated and Spatial Technologies.
Okay.
So within EAST, our kids are able to have that flexibility to do a whole bunch of things.
This podcast studio being part of that program, correct?
Yeah. EAST is kind of the front runner in that. So what I noticed, one of the big things that Mr. Landry asked me to do this year when I came in, he said, I want you to do a full course audit. I want you to look at every course that our high school offers, and here are some pathways that we have currently. How do we expand those? So EAST Lab is in a really unique situation that it can actually combine with that digital media creation pathway. So with that, I've told Coach Rhodes.
See that we're here in the Cobra Cast set. This is an amazing set.
Oh, Fountain Lake has blessed me. Thank you, administration. Love all of you. Yeah, we're pretty blessed.
We have a place for them. And broadcasting, especially, our kids do a fantastic job with the broadcasting of our games and different events. So within that digital media program, there's a lot of different avenues. So the state of Arkansas pushed out what are called Success Ready Pathways.
Okay.
And that's where you hear the pathway program.
Okay.
So those Success Ready Pathways lay out, there are a ton of different pathways that we could offer. The issue is staffing, funding, and pieces like that. So we had 5 currently. Our ag program is large. We have a lot of students that are in our FACS program, which is Family and Consumer Sciences. Okay. Unfortunately, the state of Arkansas is kind of shifting some of the FACS classes. So what we're going to have to do is look at those and figure out for this next school year, we're going to offer different options within that realm. So they're dividing them up. So currently we have 5, our ag, our FACS. EAST is not considered a Success Ready pathway, so we're going to switch over to that digital media pathway so that our kids can get credit for that.
That makes sense.
Because the end goal is that kids get this towards graduation. Okay. And here in a few years, they'll be able to say, hey, I graduated with merit or distinction are the 2 new phrases that are coming out. So with those pathways, ag, FACS, we have different options with like Sling County Tech and then also National Park. Mm-hmm. Our welding program is large. We have quite a few kids that come through that program. Our plan for next school year is to expand those pathways into 9 on-site. So within ag, we're adding animal sciences. So our kids that are interested in like veterinary school or going into like any type of field that relates to agri with animal sciences, that'll be tied in there. The digital media one will be big for students that want to kind of go into that. But within those categories, we also have some different options in English that I'm excited about. We surveyed our students. About 50% of our students were not going to go to college. They want to go right into work or they want to go to a trade school or something like that. So what I started looking at was trying to find a way to have kids come to school every day and say, I'm here for a reason. I'm here because I know my next step is trade school. My next step is college. So within that realm, we're going to offer next school year this English class that the state offers, which is called Reading and Writing for Skill Trade.
Okay.
So what that'll focus on is more of the
like technical writing?
Like technical reading and writing.
Yeah.
So learning how to read memos, how to read like job site communications between bosses and things like that.
Contracts and grant writing.
Yes,
and
everything that kind of facilitates that, and work with our local community members and say, hey, like when a kid graduates high school, what do they need to know on your job site to be successful?
Sure.
And bring that in for our seniors that they're not going to go to college, and that's okay. They can get that high school graduation credit by going through that reading and writing for trade and skill professions is what it's called. Another thing that I'm excited to offer for seniors next school year, and I think it's the shift has been really good for us, is we have seniors, as your son is about to go in, he has 24 graduation credits that he has to have. He probably already has 20 or 21. We have a lot of students that come in with credits from middle school and things like that.
Sure.
One thing we talked about at length was, if a kid wants to go to work, why are we holding them back? If a kid wants a job, why are we saying, no, you have to come to school all day, you have to be in study hall, you have to be in all these number of different things. So we're going to push out our career practicum, which is work-based learning.
I've heard about this. Tell me more about this work opportunity for the kids.
Yeah, so it falls under the CTE. So CTE stands for Career Technical Education. And when the state of Arkansas pushed this out, there are a bunch of different course codes that tie to a bunch of different CTE programs, but there's also codes that don't tie to it. So if a kid has gone through like our intro to ag classes and has gone through the welding program, and they're a senior and they don't have any more classes to take, they could potentially go work for somebody that's doing welding or anything like that that's willing to pick them up. We have a lot of students that work, jobs in the afternoon. We have a lot of kids that could possibly pick up jobs in the afternoon, like during the school day.
Like here at the school?
We're going to offer that, yeah. So we've talked about our local school partners. So Chartwells is our cafeteria management service. So working with Chartwells, those kids that are interested in maybe culinary arts or catering, they could tie in with that. Our IT people that are here on campus that are working on computers, if we have somebody that is interested in like working on computers, working on the databases and things like that. Obviously there's oversight into that because of all the restrictions on security. But if a kid could fix a computer easier than I could, I know. So those are some different options that we have with that career work-based learning. Because with our partnerships with Sling County Technical and with also National Park, kids can go their junior years and start getting that that job site experience there with those two colleges, and be prepared to get those certifications, so that they just have to go finish up. Gives them an edge, gives them the foot up. So with that's my main goal, is to be able to say we have these kids that are going to go into our work base and pay Social Security so that I can retire one day.
When you start really looking at it financially and budgeting, Fountain Lake is funded a little different than all the other public schools. I think there's only, in the state of Arkansas, I think there's only 4 other districts across the state that are almost in our unique situation. A lot of the public schools, about 99.9% of the public schools, have some kind of state funding that they receive from the state. Per student funding, yes, ma'am. And at Fountain Lake, we have a high assessment, and so we do not get any state funding per student. We have to go solely on our community's tax base, and
Which is the millage.
That's the millage, yes, ma'am. And so to kind of put this in perspective, the state. The state, we call it the URT, is the Uniform Rate of Tax, and that's for our students per student funding from the state. Well, they set a line, and I think it's right about $8,700 per student. Well, 99% of the public school system, their schools get a majority, 20 to 30% of that $8,000 from the state.
Right.
We do not. We have to just self-fund. We are just totally generated on our local tax base. So you look at most public schools, the more students that they have, the more money they get from the state.
And that's not the case here.
That is not the case here. If we have more students, we don't get that extra funding from the state. We have to take care of that through our tax base. I have a very, very conservative budgeting philosophy that I have to do, and it's working out for us. And I mean, we've just got to do the right things with the money that we do get.
Sure. And one of those things I heard was a raise for everybody on campus.
Sure, yes,
So
yes.
what does that mean outside of the paycheck?
Okay, that means, and that's funny that you brought that up. When I first got here, I started looking at trends of our staffing at Fountain Lake, and I saw there's been a lot of, there's always a lot of turnover in staff every year. Then as a superintendent, when you're looking at finances, you start saying, well, why is that? Why are teachers coming here for a year or two and then going to another district? Right. Well, that all lines up with our staff pay. And, what I had to do is I had to look at that, and I'm trying to raise our staff pay. That way we can keep our great teachers here and we can attract great teachers from other districts. And, there are some things that I've had to make some tough calls and tough decisions to do that, but it's all within the state staffing model.
Just for how the school is funded, because I didn't realize that it wasn't funded per student through the state, because that's normally how a school is funded. So you're relying on the millage, but then what happens when they don't want to increase it, and you've got, it's how do you, where does the money come from then?
Comes from our assessment rate on property taxes.
Right.
So we do not get a check from the state of our.
You have to constantly fight that battle of keeping the millage going, right?
Yes, we do. But we know that pretty much our millage rate right now is that's our millage rate. I don't feel comfortable with going to the community for a millage, because it'll be very, very tough to pass.
The AR reading.
Our AR reading program. Yes. See, the state in the LEARNS Act that was passed 2-3 years ago, it started talking about every third grader before they can pass the third grade, they have to read on a grade level reading. And this year we're really looking at third grade retention, because in the LEARNS Act it says if a student can't read on grade level by the time they finish the third grade, they can't move on. They're going to have to repeat the third grade. So we're doing different things in the classrooms that help them with their reading, doing different programs, and also we added AR reading back to the elementary, and and basically what that's doing is just another layer to help kids get better at reading. They do it on a incentive basis. It's not actually for a grade, but it's for incentives, and just trying to get our kids to have books in their hands. By the time they're ready to get finished with the third grade and they're on that grade level reading, everything else starts falling in place. Hey, you hit this points, you get these prizes, and it kind of takes the pressure off our kids to make sure that, hey, I got to read this, I got to take this test, and if I don't pass this test, it's going to affect my grade.
Make it fun.
Yes, absolutely.